So today I'm very happy to give the stage to the writing group exchange discussion with Annabel and Nokukhanya. And yeah, please do will introduce yourself. And yeah, very happy to have you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for attending today, as well as Pam and the Writing Center for inviting us here today. I'll admit I had a few self-doubts about coming here today because I didn't feel that I had the expertise to speak to you all today. But after yesterday's session with Diana Ferris, she reignited my confidence when she described a writer as an individual who observes the world and life around them. I believe that this definition of a writer is more expansive and accessible because we often feel the need to play a writer, to act in the way that we think a writer might be, and talk in the way that a writer might talk. But I know that that doesn't always have to be this way. And you can see my speech and this exercise that we'll bring to you today as an exercise in speaking in your own authentic voice, in my own 21-year-old girl undergraduate voice. Okay, so I've always been interested in this idea of beginnings and endings. I've always been interested in the origins of things and how things began. If I wanted to be concise, I would tell you that I began this group last year in August, aptly named the Writers Group. But if I wanted to be more detailed, I would tell you that this began long before that. On a night, or maybe it was a day, when my soul was feeling heavy and what I could only describe I was seeking for then as connection. If I wanted to be more philosophical, I would tell you that this began long before that, when these words were first uttered. Ubuntu. Umuntu, ngubuntu, ngabantu. Now that's smart. I wonder if they knew then that they'd become so famous, that his words would be written in the Constitution. No, I don't think it was a he. I'm sure it was a she. But these words mean humanity, community, unity, generosity. I am because you are. But one of the words that really resonate with me are two words within this phrase. Umuntu ngabantu. To me, Ubuntu is when the singular, the Ubuntu, the muntu in this sense becomes plural, Bantu, people. To me, Ubuntu is about becoming multiple, plural, and many. Writing is seen as an individual exercise to be done at dusk, hunched over a glaring laptop, and for the life of it can't stop freezing. But I don't believe it should be this way. In a sense, my creating this group was a way to become many, to be multiple, and to multiply. I believe that's not only how one draws inspiration, but how one draws strength. This is but one of the many things I've gained from this group. While the title of this session is Exchange, the act of giving and receiving, I believe it's more than that. It's a leaning on, a lifting up, and a standing tall. My next speaker, Noku, will be delving into about how writing can be a form of writing in community, can be a form of drawing inspiration, and not only inspiration, but building new ideas within yourself and shifting and changing as a person.
Hello, I hope you don't mind if I sit. I'm too nervous to stand. You'll see me shake. But a little bit about myself, so you know where I'm coming from a writing standpoint. I'm a fourth year fine arts student, and as kind of in first year, outside of fine arts, I created a publication, Moye Magazine, with my assistant editor. We were published together when we were 17 in a little anthology. And I kind of kept this publication separate from my independent artist practice for multiple reasons. At first, it was kind of, this is underdeveloped, this is nothing. And then as time grew on, it was kind of like, don't critique this. This is a sacred part of me, don't critique this. I don't know if you know how arts crit goes, but they can cut deep. And within this, I didn't notice, but writing for me kind of died. So when I would be in fine arts, I wouldn't write per se, or write in the way I would. It's essays only, handed in, you know, clickly clack, the deadline is 11, I'm writing. And then within Moe, I kind of shied away from it. I would hand in art or edit other people's pieces, but I myself wouldn't write. And then I started coming to the writing workshops and the writers group, and this year I felt ready to kind of share my writing. And a lecturer of mine during a crit said, they see the fear, but with separating yourself, especially if writing is your core, it's kind of like schism. It's kind of like cutting away parts of yourself. And so I kind of looked at what happened before and after that made me want to share my writing now. And I noticed the shift was the writing workshops or the writing group. And in that, it was because at first I was isolated. I was alone. I thought that the ideal writer, like Annabel said, over your computer, maybe with whiskey or something. And then I started coming to the workshops, and there was like a community. Not only is it structured so that at the end of the session you share whatever you free wrote in the session, so it kind of chips away like, what do they call it? Fear, like an exposure to the fear that I had, but not only that, but hearing other people share the things they love, and also sharing the fact that you can fail, there are people to catch you here. So with that, I was researching what is it about writing with a community and sharing your writing with a community that shifted this change in me. And I came across this term chokhmah, which is the Judeo-Christian of the personification and wisdom. The personification actually exists across cultures, but what we're looking at today, the underlying substance of wisdom personified is that ideas, wisdom, inspiration is contagious. So firstly, in a metaphysical sense, so just being around people, you can catch the inspiration from them, especially if they're outwardly showing their passion. So within the writing center, whenever people would kind of share their writing, I'd be like, skip me, no, next person. But the more I saw like, oh, people are enjoying this, people are sharing, there's no judgment, only constructive critique, was I able to then share my work. Also within the free writes, at first I was like, should I be writing something? I can just leave the page, but seeing other people, I don't know if you've ever seen a writer write. Like the passion of the pen, like people are like scribbling, paging through, just seeing other people like that inspired me to behave this way with my own writing practice. And then in a physical sense, the writing group isn't just English students or like fine arts as myself. There's people from like finance, there's people from accounting, there's people from the sciences, from psychology. So people bring in their own knowledges into the writing session. So I leave with kind of like these seeds of knowledge that I didn't walk in before. So people share like psychology facts that now I've cracked open a character, I've cracked open places in myself that I can now use in my writing. Or people share their own writing techniques, their books, their poetry that they're reading that I was so closed off to that I didn't even know about. And with that comes the sense of writing. And I don't know if you guys know about body doubling. It's basically when you can't necessarily, I don't know, this is an ADHD thing, so I'll explain it in that term. It's when you can't regulate yourself to focus when you're by yourself. But now that there's another person who is working on something, it makes me feel like I want to work on something. So there's a sense of relinquished fear that if I start writing, something bad is going to come out. It's that, oh, I'm just writing, and that's all that there is. So this cross-germination of ideas, of inspiration, comes just being in community with each other. And I'd actually like to hear some of your ideas and comments on how you think being in community with people helps develop the ideas or the inspiration to write.
Well, thank you so very much. I really thought what both of you were presenting is super inspiring. So I completely resonate with what you're saying. I remember, Annabel, you joined one of our sessions, and I hope you got that idea because we were also meeting over time and just listening to each other, writing, coming up with prompts. And I really respect the work you're doing to step up courageously and start a writing group. That's so precious. And like what you're saying, I think what I caught from what you were saying is so amazing in terms of that. The intuitive fast writing, you can't put an assessment to it because it's written in like what, 5, 10 minutes? So you can't say, wow, that's really badly written, because it's just fragments and everyone has their own style. I thought yesterday at the Diana Ferris poetry session, it was so amazing as well, that the rough first draft can really come easily if the space is held by people.
I think that's so cool because I like to tell the students that there's no wrong answer, right? There's no right or wrong answer. There's no way that you need to write. I think a lot of students come into the space and they're a little bit scared because they're like, I feel like it's too simple. I can't speak elaborately like they are, but I feel like it's in that becoming that we would like to like interview, right? We don't just wake up one day and say you're a writer, you grow as a writer. And so we really wanted to be those people there who can help like people as seeds to grow, and so that maybe when they want to do like go into writing more professionally, then they'll have this time already behind them. And we wanted to give you guys today, since our thing was called Exchange, I got some members of the group to write down quotes that they wrote during our sessions, and I'd like to give you all some of those quotes today for a free write, just based on what this writer says. These are young writers, so here you go. This is by Kimora. This is by Nyongwana.
Thank you.
So we will write on the prompts.
Yes,
Oh,
so
fantastic.
our writers wrote the prompts.
Okay,
This is by Nyongwana. Is anyone have a pen? This is by Philippa.
Does everyone have pens?
I have extra pins.
Does anyone need a pen? Does anybody need a prompt?
Or a prompt?
Yes, yes.
So we write on the same page our...
Yes, on the same page,
How-
yes.
You give us the start sign.
And I also have photos that I've used already in sessions that I'd also like for you guys to just bring an interpretation, because I've heard lots of interpretations on these photos, but I'd be interested to see what you guys come up with. Yes. Yes, even on the back, it's okay. I like to get photos from the internet and give the students inspiration. Here you go, this is just a prompt that I'm giving you, that I usually give the students, and you can write on the photo that you see. It doesn't have to be directly linked, it can be what it evokes for you. Is there anybody else who needs a prompt?
If anyone needs paper, I have spare paper.
Oh, please.
Pen? Can I have a pen?
I think we can free write for 5 minutes and then we'll share. I think you can choose the one How much time do we have? Okay, let's do 5 minutes.
Okay. 5 minutes starts now.
Sure, sure, sure. I stay.
think we can start on this side of the room.
Oh, so okay, I can start. I came in late, but I'm not sure. I'm not quite clear what to do. But by just observing this picture, I can see affection, love, romance, passion, pleasure, intimacy, intercourse. I think those are the words I have jotted down. Hope everyone can see.
So I had a very interesting picture. I'm so tired. Eyes close, body sinks, images pass. Space, snort. Space, outside the stars, far, far, leaves move. Moon full, bright, snort. Black skin gleaming, snort. Tail swishes, snort. Space, blank, reach to the stars, staring, moon staring, snort. He looks at me, stares, snort. I'm glad you're there. It's an interesting picture.
I really like the piece that you wrote, the repetition of snort. I love the first line that reads, "I'm so tired."
That's why I began.
It's just so simple, but then it just evokes so much, and you just want to exhale and be like,
Yes, that's it.
I'm so tired. I don't know if anybody else has an opinion on it, because I just thought it was so lovely. I love the picture. So
I love the
obscure.
picture. Yeah, it's a beautiful
It's one of my favorite prompts.
May I see the picture?
Okay. I got a written prompt. It said exchangeability to attachment, objectification of self outside the self. So I only focused on the objectification of self outside the self. Mirror, mirror on the wall, big legs, mirror, mirror on the wall, big thighs, big legs, big hair. What else is there to see? A new pimple, a whitehead, no, it's a mole. Love yourself, repeat, you're beautiful. Mirror, mirror on the wall. This is not a Snow White tale. This is not an ode to black girls. This is the objectification of self outside the self. It doesn't even need a mirror. We have social media and 10,000 magazines on women's beauty that contradict themselves.
Thank you.
I love the subversion, like the typical Snow White, turning it into Teddy.
Yes, I love that use. I think it's allusion, right? Yes, alluding to that very common phrase, mirror, mirror on the wall.
And Snow White's dreams that they now applied to a figure that is not. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, the test was challenging me to think of knowledge in relation to power and innocence. Yeah, so it generated a few concepts. You know, when you think of innocence, what comes to mind when you hear the word innocence, purity, wholeness, completeness, harmony. The link with knowledge, well, when you hear the word knowledge, what comes to mind is, for me, it's rapture, it's disruption, it's provocation, it's, we talk of breaking new knowledge, it's destination, it's openness. So the idea of knowledge as power, so it's power in a roundabout way, in order to achieve an end, it comes with disruption, which is something that we don't associate with innocence, It comes with openness, it comes with venture. Yeah, but I was just thinking about those concepts that you threw on me.
I think you said something about knowledge as disruption. What do you think knowledge disrupts?
Well, it disrupts stereotypes, you know. It disrupts ill-informed ideas, you know. Yeah, it disrupts the kind of innocence that is based on lies. It unmakes us and admires us.
Thank you so much.
Greetings, everyone. Hello. It's a very interesting written text here. It has a lot of representation, a lot of language that can be pictures. You know, in a way, let me just read it out so you guys can hear it. Nah? It says, she's not dead, not really. You see, she has gone, nor be one with the ways of God, in the ways of walking away, running away and never coming back. So I somehow was inspired by walking away, running away and never coming back, which somehow evoked memories from it's a movie scene, if somehow you guys know Lion King. So I actually came about with my writing here. I said, Ndodana, run away and never come back. But why? Look what have you done. Your sins won't forgive. Your sins are not going to be forgiven. I'll find my way back home if I leave now. Ancestral drums beating. Thank you. Yeah.
Your final lines, ancestral drums beating, would that be part of the text or would you perform it? Because I see a lot of dialogue here that's giving more like a script or like a play kind of thing. Would it just say drums beating or would you do the drums beating?
I'll do the drums beating while there's that moment, that glorious moment. You know, you get that, you know, yeah. So yeah.
Thank you.
Hello everybody. I've been given a picture here. So for me, I feel this, I assume this is a victim of GBV because you can see through her forehead that blood is gushing and streaming down to her face, eyes closed. The picture for me evokes emotions of sadness, depression or victimization. And I feel like she was powerless at the hands of her perpetrator as she could not fight back. And also I feel like being silent as well about GBV, it gave the perpetrator the power to repeat the offense given the opportunity again, as I feel like she has not gone forward and reported what she went through. If I was clairvoyant, maybe I could read deeper or what she's feeling at this current moment. Or she's in a state of powerlessness, I don't know. Or she's just fearful of acting up on and reporting the issue to the relevant authorities. Or she's just letting it go.
Thank you. How do you think you could translate those ideas into like a story or a poem, right? You said words like powerlessness, right? You can, and fear, right? How would you mold that into a poem or a story?
No, I'm not a good poet, but I can use the word that I'm powerless because I've been victimized as a female. I'm using this, you know, trying to narrate
what she's going through. I'm powerless as a female at the hands of my perpetrator. Fear is within me because I cannot act for justice to be delivered. If he repeats the offense, then I'm doomed.
Thank you.
Okay, the prompt was given and I sort of adjusted it. Having to sit in my chair and look at her the way I did, I was afraid to show her that she had me wrapped around her little fingers, just like my mother had my dad. Wrapped so tightly he couldn't think. Me too. Wrapped so tightly was I around her little fingers, I became the fingers, little fingers, soft and tight. I too became little, soft and tight. When I am little, soft and tight, what can I do? Can I jump? Can I sing? Can I speak? I am little, soft and tight, with many questions. Questions, little, soft and tight.
The soft and tight for me hits in so many ways. Like there's a vulnerability to it, but if you would, I don't know if I'm interpreting this wrong, but if there's the vulnerability in it, but often the way up. Okay, sorry, let me collect myself. There's a vulnerability to it when it's from the first person, but I also have fear for it as someone who could see how a predator could look at the words soft and tight. Like there's a little bit of uncomfortability I'm feeling towards it, but also like I'm like, there is an innocence in the first person, let it be. But I'm also like, it's, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry,
I'm
calling you out. So I got several prompts. I will read them out. Never let small minds tell you that your dreams are too big. Books change what you know, but poetry and storytelling changes how you see the world. Believe it first, and they will believe it too. Do it now, as it might be late later. So that was a high bar. The writing is in the now. It is in the moment when, as Noku said, the passion of the pen meets the page. This moment of writing is a moment of becoming your future self, pen stroke by pen stroke, scratching away at what seems to us a future that is written by others who want us to be someone, to be how they imagined us to be. It is deeply liberational to write against this current of desires. I see a tree swayed by a torrential rain. How does it keep itself together but when it has been in a conversation with the sun, the clouds, the droughts, the birds, and wisps of morning light, long before us humans began looking at it doing its thing. So this is my leaf of shaking in the impact of your prompts, following the shining pebbles that you left for me on the ground, guiding my writing towards something that you dream of, or I dream of, perhaps I'm reading your prompts, I feel stepping into your multiverse of being, while not being able to travel its length. I will embark on my pen time space travel to flow with what you wrote and see where it takes me. If you write it now.
Thank you. I like that part when you were talking about the tree, right? And how it seems isolated, but then when it works together with other elements, right, it's somehow complete, right? And I think that this is really an idea that we wanted to get across today, is that when you're alone, it's very isolating and you're not really sure what you're doing, right? But when you're with other people, you become more complete, right? You see other people's that recognition in their eyes, and you become more complete. and there's that seeing of you, right? And in Zulu, the greeting is always Sanibonani, we see you, right? And I think being seen is so important, and just the sheer sight of everybody here today, just looking at everybody else and seeing you and you seeing me it's so beautiful, and I really am grateful for that. And I hope we can continue seeing one another to become more complete, to become more as people.
My quote was, I smell the nothing on your breath, my armpits water. I wander in the water. Are they nervous, excited? They're physically close enough to smell the breath. A kiss, a fight, a screaming match, perhaps a hug. The word wander implies meandering, getting a bit lost in the moment. Perhaps a positive. The word nothing stands out to me, especially as it is preceded by the, not a. What is the nothing? Disappointment, disregard, a lack of care, or maybe it's that the people can't emote, can't express themselves.
My quote was, keep the curtains open, let the friends and songs gather. There's an optimism to the prompt that I find very writerly. While the whiskey-soaked, Hollywood-produced writer remains closed, a figure haunted and haunting, the experience of writing, from my perspective, often brings together many more energies than it closes us off from. The prompt is also a command to keep, almost a reminder of how easily the writing experience is hijacked by the closed off, the dark, the separate, some instinct to keep us apart. Makes me think about my own writing practice, the strain, the difficulty of sense making, the endurance fading, and I feel worry of my own room growing dark and unused.
I think he captures exactly what you want us to get out of being alone and enjoying the group.
And I like how you touched on how, despite writing being something that you can develop yourself and you should be open, it's somehow not like that. And this idea of haunting and haunted as well is really interesting. So I gave myself the prompt of somebody else's words yesterday in the Diana Ferris workshop. She had a line in her poem that read, "Where was she going and would I find her there?" I just found it so intriguing. So I had to write it down, but I used that and I said, where was she going and would I find her there? Maybe she's going to a vast forest with fluttering rainbow birds. Maybe she's going to the circus with aerial dancers that twirl and fly, one with the sky. Or maybe she's going to the other room to turn on the television, on, to laugh at the flickering pixels. She's going, I say. She's going. She's going somewhere I can't follow.
Okay.
Well, no, I just said one word.
Yeah.
I know, it's just curious.
Yeah.
It's curious. Where is she going? Always like that.
And I like how you can put this question mark in writing that can just be so much. I love even your use of rhetorical questions. It's just I love using it, and it's always beneficial to use it in your writing.
So I used a prompt from a session I was late to, so I didn't do the free write. It was basically about tethering the emotion to the metaphor, in the nuance of the metaphor, not like as. When you say love, I imagine a mental event similar to a rat in a toothpick cage, 2 doors down from God. When you say kiss, I imagine lips to marble with the longing of flesh. When you say hate, I imagine the mental event of passion. When you say passion, I imagine hatred decanted through when you say hate, I imagine 3 crosses slid over the chest.
Yes.
Like, it's so amazing So amazing that one frame or one use of word can create many words. Because now it's a poem, you actually use the imagery as your poem, you know. That's the fun parts about the writing, okay, that I can see. Also writing.
Yeah. Mental associations that open up the.
Thank you all for being here with us and doing the free write so wonderfully and listening to us here today. Thank you, everyone.
That was terrific. Many thanks.
I'm thinking I can see myself in you. I'm dating myself about 35 years ago. I had produced a little little magazine, and I couldn't even afford to do much with it. So it was a photocopy. I made a few copies. It was just a photocopy. I remember. Unfortunately, it was stolen. But I remember it, and I just thinking how what will I say? Is it like you've inspired me to go back there and see the promise of that person in you? So thank you so much, and congratulations with your group.
Thank you.